name's Michaela Hooper, and I'm going to be talking about Giardia duodenalis, which is a protozoan parasite that causes giardiasis in humans and mammals. The scientific name is Giardia duodenalis, also known as Giardia lamblia or Giardia intestinalis. The common name is Giardia. Giardia is a protozoan parasite that causes giardiasis, which is one of the most common causes of diarrhea in humans and other mammals throughout the world. It is zoonotic, meaning it can be transmitted between species from humans to animals or vice versa. It is the most common cause of waterborne outbreaks of diarrhea in the United States and is occasionally seen as a cause of foodborne diarrhea. In developing countries, there's a very high prevalence and incidence of infection, and data suggests that long-term growth retardation can result from chronic giardiasis. To classify this organism, the domain is Eukaryota, kingdom Protozoa, phylum Metamonada, order Diplomonidida, family Hexaminidae, genus Giardia, species duodenalis. This protozoan was initially named Circomonas intestinalis by Lamble in 1859. It was renamed Giardia lamblia by Stiles in 1915 in honor of Professor A. Giard of Paris and Dr. F. Lamble of Prague. However, many consider the name Giardia duodenalis to be the correct taxonomic name for this protozoan based on the intestine it affects the most. Giardiasis is communicable throughout the entire period of infection as long as a person or mammal excretes the cyst, which may last months. People can become infected after accidentally swallowing Giardia cysts. It can be spread through contaminated feces, water, foods, surfaces, or objects. The peer-reviewed academic journal article I chose is called Identification of Zoonotic Genotypes of Giardia duodenalis by Heinz Sprong, Simone M. Conchio, and Joke W.B. Vandergiesen. The popular article I chose is What You Need to Know About Giardia in Dogs by Anna Burke. I chose both of these articles because I work in the veterinary field and I see fecal test results that are positive for Giardia almost every day. I wanted to learn more about the disease and the zoonotic capabilities of the parasite between animals and humans. My peer-reviewed journal article dives deep into the zoonotic capabilities of each assemblage type of G. duodenalis to find out what role animals have in the epidemiology of human infection. The popular article I chose concisely explains what Giardia is, how it can affect you and your animals, how to prevent it, and what to look out for. Both of these articles will assist me in educating pet owners what it means for their pet to have Giardia, what Giardia is exactly, what to expect, and what precautions to take. The authors of the peer-reviewed journal article I chose seek to test the role of animals in relation to the epidemiology of human infection via the zoonotic potential of Giardia duodenalis. A correlation may be found through the newly developed molecular database that will take a closer examination of these three elements. 1. The uptake of genetically different Giardia cysts by a host, subsequent infection of an already infected host with a different Giardia species which may cause disease, and other explanations for mixed genotypes are substantial allelic sequence heterogeneity and/or genetic recombination. The research data lies in the Giardia sequences derived from genomic DNA. The sequences were retrieved from their web-based database, which is filled with multiple markers from multiple Giardia isolates to perform basis phylogenetic analysis, which is the study of evolutionary relationships among species, on these sequences. I pulled these two tables from my academic journal article, and the authors were able to use their new database to see how the different assemblage types of Giardia were dispersed among different species. And as you can see in the tables, multiple assemblage types A through G were found in each species, showing just how zoonotic this parasite is. The team of researchers concluded through their use of a web-based database where molecular and epidemiological data are combined that there was a zoonotic potential on multiple levels of assemblage for isolates. The use and improvement of the ZooPet database is necessary to fully analyze giardiasis among species. Giardiasis is a recurring endemic disease worldwide, including the United States. Around 200 million people are infected worldwide each year. In humans, giardiasis typically presents as severe diarrhea. It can even be asymptomatic or a chronic disease with symptoms such as nausea, increasing fatigue, fever, itchy skin, hives, and swelling of the eyes and joints. In dogs, giardiasis can present as diarrhea, weight loss, failure to gain weight, vomiting, dehydration, poor coat appearance, and hematochezia, which is blood in the stool. To look for the presence of Giardia in humans and animals, your doctor is likely to take a sample of stool and examine it in the lab under a microscope to look for the parasite or Giardia cysts, or they might perform a Giardia ELISA test. When Giardia cysts are swallowed, they travel to the small intestine where the cysts each release two trophozoites. The trophozoites then feed off and absorb nutrients from the infected person. After that, they multiply by splitting in two through binary fission, remaining in the small intestine where they can be free or attached to the inside lining of the small intestine. They can then travel towards the colon and transform back into a cyst through incystation. The infected person can then excrete the cyst through their feces, and the cysts are immediately infective after exiting the body. They can survive several months in cold water or soil. Acute giardiasis develops after an incubation period of 1 to 14 days and usually lasts 3 weeks. As stated before, Giardia is found on surfaces in soil, food, or water that's been contaminated with feces from infected people or animals. Houseflies can also be a vector to spread Giardia. The parasite lives in the small intestine and is passed through the stool. The parasite was initially discovered in 1681 by Van Leeuwenhoek as he was examining his own diarrhea stools under a microscope. Children and adults who have Giardia infection do not need treatment if they do not have symptoms, unless they're likely to spread disease. People who do show symptoms typically get better on their own in a few weeks. If symptoms are severe, some doctors may prescribe an antibiotic with antiparasitic effects, most commonly used as metronidazole to kill the parasite. Giardia duodenalis causes enterocytes, cells of the intestines, damage and loss of the brush border of the epithelial cells of the intestine that leads to the shortening of microvilli and altered epithelial barrier function. This is what leads to the gastrointestinal distress and symptoms of diarrhea referred to as giardiasis. Thank you so much for watching.